Hello and welcome to This Week in Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. What a week it has been. Tonight, we see the Amazon Warriors going up against TKR. We certainly hope that they are successful in this bid to win the CPL. They've gone there 5 times and not brought us the trophy. This time things look like it is going to go our way. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. On this week's presentation of This Week in Agriculture, though, we must bring you up to date on the activities of Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa for week ending September 23. As you know, Guyana and its partners are working feverishly to bring our farmers and producers up to scratch in terms of bringing their production standards in line with those that are accepted internationally. And this past week, the USAID, in collaboration with ICA, they joined together in providing training for the nation's farmers and producers about meeting those international standards and producing their products to a standard that will allow entry to U.S. markets. That workshop lasted over 3 days, and the minister was there to deliver some remarks at the opening session. He was also there for another international engagement, but from his office via Zoom, and he was able to address CARICOM and others, international partners again, on what Guyana has been doing, what the region needs as a whole in terms to realize the goals of 25 by 2025. In addition to those international engagements and the local ones, Minister continued his outreaches to communities across the country. This past week, he returned to Melanie on the east coast of Demerara, where he brought them up to date on the interventions as it related to the improvement of drainage and irrigation in their communities. A month ago, he had visited and they had requested improved drainage. The NDIA, an agency of the Ministry of Agriculture, intervened and provided some interventions. And so 900 odd rods of drainage channels were cleared. And so now residents are enjoying better drainage as per their request. This Week in Agriculture is produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising. We will be back after these messages.
Here's an important notice. Do you know that it is illegal to import, store, distribute, sell, and purchase antibiotics without a license or prescription, as the case may be? According to the Antibiotic Act of 1952, owners of livestock and other animals are not permitted to purchase and use antibiotics unless prescribed by a veterinarian. It should be noted that the misuse of antibiotics could result in the development of resistance to the very antibiotic, which in turn will pose health risks to the animal and to humans. The GLDA advises that farmers should not administer antibiotics to animals unless prescribed by a veterinarian. Non-compliance with this act will result in fines and imprisonment. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture.
Rabies is a disease that is almost always fatal, but is 100% preventable. It is a disease that affects humans and all other warm-blooded animals. The GLDA wishes to stress that a rabies outbreak can result in the deaths of the animals, inclusive of horses, cattle, and small ruminants, leading to economic losses. Further, rabies is a zoonotic disease and can be transmitted to humans, resulting in fatalities. The GLDA is urging cattle farmers, especially those in regions 2, 3, 6, and 9, to vaccinate all their animals that are 3 months and older against rabies immediately and on a yearly basis. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture.
Farmers and the members of the public in general are being advised that tampering with drainage and irrigation structures in any way is prohibited under the Drainage and Irrigation Act. So too are practices that result in damage to access dams, such as using an inadequate length of tube to irrigate farmlands, resulting in erosion of the earthen dams. Also contrary to the Drainage and Irrigation Act is the practice of erecting structures or planting on government reserves. This will not be condoned. These reserves are to be clear at all times to provide access for the excavation of the channels. Livestock farmers should also be aware that they are liable for any damages caused by their cattle or swine to dams or reserves alongside D&I channels, as is the case when the animals cross these channels. Individuals wishing to erect bridges across D&I structures should first contact the NDIA before doing so. Those found guilty under the Act are liable to fines and imprisonment for up to 3 months. A message from the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, Ministry of Agriculture. We begin this week's presentation by bringing you a few clips of an impromptu celebration by heads of department and staff of the Ministry of Agriculture Monday. The honorable one being celebrated as the birthday guy, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, who celebrated his birthday on Sunday last. On behalf of the entire production team, we join in wishing Minister Mustafa a belated birthday. As the government of Guyana continues its preparations for the hosting of its second Agri-Investment Forum and Expo in a matter of weeks, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa visited the Artachunk Conference Center Tuesday for a first-hand look at the progress of those preparations. Before the visit, Minister Mustafa met with members of the Expo's Planning and Coordinating Committee to get a status report on several critical areas such as registration of exhibitors, confirm the participants, finances, and general logistics. In an invited comment, Minister Mustafa said a number of heads of state within CARICOM region are expected to attend this year's expo. He said several corporate bodies and investors have already registered, confirming their participation in the event. From all that has been said and can be seen from the preparations, this year's expo will be bigger, given the success of the previous agri-investment forums and expos that were held in Guyana and Trinidad last year. This year's event will be held from October 20 to 22 under the theme Achieving Vision 25 by 2025. Persons interested in attending and participating are asked to visit the Expo's official website at agri.gy. The closing date for registration is October 5. On Wednesday last, the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA, with support from the United States Department of Agriculture, Foreign Agriculture Service, USDA-FAS program, launched a 3-day grower training workshop for Guyana to promote the understanding of the Food Safety Modernization Act, Produce Safe Rule. Some 25 fruit and vegetable growers and extensionists were exposed to a series of indoor and outdoor training exercises that sought to prepare them to meet the requirements to export fresh fruits and vegetables to the United States of America. The objectives of the program, which was funded by U.S. aid, was to increase competitiveness and the technical capacity of food safety professionals to comply with the requirements of the U.S. FSMA. In delivering opening remarks, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa welcomed the exercise, which seeks to enhance the technical capacity of local producers, acknowledging that the development of Guyana's food safety system is an ongoing process.
Very timely what we are doing now in the country and the way that Guyana is moving. I think training like these are very important for us. And today, Guyana's national policies are aligned with CARICOM Vision 25 by 2025. And we are talking about reducing the food import bill of CARICOM. And as the lead for agriculture in CARICOM, you know, His Excellency, our President, is leading that charge in CARICOM. We have been on the fast track to replace imported food and being a major regional exporter of food. So we want to replace the food that are coming in here because our food import bill is very high. It's between 6 to 8 billion US annually. And also we want to be a net exporter, not only for the Caribbean, but around the world. And as such, we have no option but to rapidly improve our food control system to fully meet regional and international standards. Adriana would have alluded to it just now. The importance of food safety, the importance of standard, the importance how we must go about producing food. So our government acknowledges that the development of our food safety system is an ongoing process, and therefore we welcome the training course. This here will enhance the technical capacity of agricultural producer to comply with the requirements of the United States Food Safety Modernization Act. That's very important for us. So first of all, let me thank the ICA, the United States Department of Agriculture, Foreign Agriculture Service, and the USAID for organizing this grower. And I don't know if everyone here are growers or producers training course, which will help our farmers, agro-processors, and exporters to better understand the FSMA, Produce Safety Rules and Requirements, if I am correct. You just mentioned about it. So this is very important for us. While we are doing everything to ramp up production of several priority commodities, amongst which are fruits and vegetables, we are aiming to reduce our dependency on extra-regional imports and also create the environment to our exporter to be able to access international markets.
Pointing to Guyana's half-year economic report, Minister Mustafa said the training comes against a background in which Guyana's agriculture sector has shown healthy growth, not only in expanded production, but in ever-increasing exports.
And I want to say here, recently, the Minister of Finance would have put out his half-year report, 2023, and Guyana's other crop subsector grew by 9.4%. That shows that our production is ramping up. In 2022, Guyana exported to the US a quantity of fruits, vegetables, and agro-processed products totaling 679,985 kilograms, with the total export for the first half. In 2022, the entire year, we would have exported to the United States 679,985 kilograms of fruits and vegetables. With the total export for the first half of 2023, we have already passed that. We have exported for the first half 744,424 kilograms of fresh fruits and vegetables for the first half of 2023. I am very optimistic for the next half. We will surpass far this amount. There have been an increasing demand for primary products and agro-processed products such as coconut and coconut water, fresh and frozen fruits, pineapples, mangoes, achar, and other things, other commodities. As primary production increases, our government is also placing great emphasis on the development of agro-processing facilities. By the end of this year, 2023, we will have approximately 13 agro-processing facilities across this country, not only in the urban areas, but areas right around. For example, in the Deep South in Region 9, places like Blackbush Polder in Region 6. Only last Friday, I commissioned one in Charity in Region 2. And we got like places like Whitewater, far distance away. What we are doing these things for? We want the hinterland to have the same kind of facility and development so that the farmers there can have the option in producing and bring value to their produce. We envision seeing many more value-added products being developed as Guyana is poised to become a food hub for the CARICOM region.
The Agriculture Minister stressed that even as Guyana ramps up its production of fruits and vegetables and its range and volume of value-added products, government is cognizant of the importance of ensuring that producers meet the safety standards that should be the norm for all foods.
So the government is cognizant that both national and international consumers seek a safe, diverse, and abundant food supply. So the statistics I've just mentioned speak volume about the global challenges we face concerning food safety. So whilst we are doing and producing all these food, we have to also upkeep the standard. We have to also upkeep the food safety. And according to the World Health Organization, if you look at the statistic coming out of the World Health Organization, 1 in 10 people worldwide fall ill from consuming contaminated food each year. Shockingly, children under the age of 5 make up 40% of foodborne diseases cases worldwide. So we have to be careful, we have to set the standard. These figures underscore the urgency of our mission to ensure that food emanating from Guyana is free from foodborne diseases and meet all the U.S. food safety requirements. That is why we are now updating our legislation. We have a food safety authority bill that was passed, and very shortly I will take that back up to Parliament to amend it so that we can be in line with international best practices. We are in the process of developing, now we are in the process of drafting a food security bill legislation to take to Parliament shortly. ICA and FAO, they are assisting us. So what we are doing these things for, we want to update our legislation to be in line with international best practices. We recognize the importance of establishing a robust national food control system capable of preventing, detecting, and managing foodborne risk throughout the entire food supply chain. And as such, in this year's budget, we had $150 million that was allocated towards the Guyana Food Safety Authority to enhance the output of that authority. The government will continue to put a strong emphasis on food safety as an important step to our quest towards expanding our export potential. Today's training, initiated by all the organizations that are involved, is evident of this, and I want to compliment all the persons, all the organizers.
The food safety workshop concluded Friday and saw facilitators from Trinidad and Tobago as well as Costa Rica, along with other staff from ICA's Guyana office, guiding the proceedings over the 3 days. Also this past week, the Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa delivered the keynote address at the 4th CARICOM Canada Policy Forum. The hybrid event was organized by the CARICOM heads of the diplomatic mission in Canada in collaboration with the ICA delegation in Canada under the theme CARICOM, Food Security in a Climate-Challenged World. In his address, Minister Mustafa stressed that food security is a fundamental pillar of prosperity for CARICOM, a key aspect of which rests on the ongoing transformation of Guyana's agri-food systems in rural communities.
But what we are doing in Guyana, because Guyana is very challenging in terms of drainage, Guyana is 5 feet below the level of the sea. High Commissioner George will tell you that. And we are very challenged in draining our system in a gravity flow. We have to now implement more pump stations. We have to do mega projects, and that we are embarking on. And those projects call for a lot of financing. And if we are talking about the backbone of the food system, our farmers are the backbone of our food system, and we will continue to empower them with knowledge that we have to continue to do that. I mentioned that. We have to continue to empower them with knowledge and tools needed to adapt to climate challenges of climate change. Those capacity building initiatives, training programs, and access to climate information, we are ensuring that our agricultural communities are equipped to thrive in the ever-changing climate. Those are things we have started, we have been moving across the country, and in various areas in the Caribbean, we are seeing other countries are doing it. To this end, we look forward to the continuous support of ICA and across the CARICOM region as they engage in projects that promote sustainable farming practices in the face of climate challenges and bolstering food security. There are a lot of work to be done. ICA, like many of the international partners in CARICOM region, has summarized in every finding that the Caribbean is specifically vulnerable to the issue of climate change. As such, we call on every international institution, international partners, to help us champion the establishment. And this is very important. I'm here talking for the entire Caribbean, an establishment of a vulnerability fund for comparative analysis of our competitive advantages, individually and collectively, so we know where our advantages and disadvantages lies and how we can address them together. This is a very important issue and we should look at it. We look forward to further improving our bilateral relation with countries like Canada. I've been working very, very closely with your High Commissioner in Guyana. He has been a very, very valuable partner for us, and I want to encourage your agricultural experts and investors to explore the abundant opportunities that exist to support food security and promote sustainable agriculture across CARICOM. The publication From Crisis to Opportunity, an innovative approach to food security in the Caribbean by His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali, our President, alludes to the following strategic policy recommendations to guide the region in prioritizing effort that will lead to greater food security. And some of those measures that were highlighted by His Excellency are establishment of a regional agro-tech campus, which will focus on the development of entrepreneurship, specifically startups in life science field, with supporting advanced and specialized training of researchers and other technicians in the area of agricultural and environmental, biotechnology, and food and nutrition. The development of a CARICOM cross-border agri-food investment strategy to support production corridors that requires the following: updating land use policies in respective member state, mapping of production activities in the region, addressing taxation, trading and quotas policies, reducing regulatory and administrative border procedure, and at the national level, create a national agricultural catastrophe fund with linkages to the regional Caribbean catastrophe risk insurance facility.
Meanwhile, during a panel discussion on promoting food security and sustainable agriculture for climate-resilient food systems across CARICOM, Minister Mustafa said that food security efforts should include increasing accessibility and improving the nutrition of all persons. He said that in ensuring food security, there must be scope for sustainable employment opportunities for youths, women, and other vulnerable groups. Finally, on This Week in Agriculture, on Thursday last, the Agriculture Minister returned to the community of Melanie on the east coast of Demerara, where he discussed developmental plans for the community. The minister had visited the community 1 month ago, during which he had committed to begin work on improving drainage and irrigation. At Thursday's meeting with the residents, most of them farmers, Minister Mustafa disclosed that to date 907 rods of drains were cleared as part of efforts to improve drainage in the area. He also announced that a follow-up assessment of the community's drainage structures will be done to determine if additional works are needed to alleviate flooding during the rains. The Agriculture Minister also shared with residents of Melanie and surrounding communities additional interventions set to be rolled out to their benefit.
I made a commitment the last time I spoke to 2 farmers, people who are planting kitchen garden, that we'll give you all the planting material free of cost. I said that. And I still hold on that commitment. Nari, who is here now, will have the task of finding out what type of planting material you need, and we'll give you all free of cost. All of you who need planting material. Right? So we'll do that. The other thing, we'll work with you in the community. You had just had the Minister of, within the Ministry of Public Works. He will work with you all on the roads. And then we will look to see what more help we can give you. Now, if I come here today, and I am saying that we will look at the most vulnerable household. Vulnerable first, we can start with single parents, female single parents, or vulnerable household, and I will give you all 25 Black Giant board, or 20 Black Giant board per household. And I make that commitment this afternoon. I will deliver on it. And it wouldn't be a year. It will be less than 2 couple weeks. I can do that. So we have a policy, and that policy, what the comrade is talking, I don't know who said and who made that promises. Right? So what I will do now, I will make a commitment here. Let us first of all look at the single parents. Let us look at the vulnerable parents, the single parents, and I will give them 20 Black Giant board within 3 weeks. Within 3 weeks. Now 1 year now, within 3 weeks. So I need, where is Bascom? I need Bascom, who is the counselor, to work with the community to get that list for me, and I will come back myself here to deliver that to the community. To deliver that to the community. Comrades, let me tell you all something. We have a great opportunity today in this country. You know why? Because I am seeing now that various ethnic groups are coming together. And that is the way to go. That's the way to go. We have to look at our future. Let us not allow politics and race to divide us, where we will continue to live in poverty. We will continue to live in poverty. I came here with the intention this afternoon to look at the groups in the community, the youths them who are not working, so I can give them some drainage work and they can earn a livelihood. Right, in the community, so I can maintain the drain that we did. The drain that we have dug, I will ask the group to help maintain it, and NDIA will contract them monthly, and they will get a monthly money from NDIA, so they can earn for themselves. That is the kind of empowerment we're talking about, you know. But sometimes we allow things to cloud our judgment, and when that happens, we become vulnerable to politics and vulnerable to race, and we allow that thing to divide us and make us live in poverty all the time. But we will not do those things. I promise you that I will work along with you when I came here the first time, and I will continue to work with you. That is why I'm back here this afternoon. I am back here this afternoon so that we can continue. So what we'll do, I will ask if there is a CDC in this community or a group in this community. We have 907 rods of drain that were clear, and that amount to almost $8 million. So we will now look at those drains. Mr. Lionel is here with the engineer, his engineer. They will work along with the group. We will task out the work, and we will give the group to maintain those canals, and at the end of the month, we'll give them a payment.
Farmers and the members of the public in general are being advised that tampering with drainage and irrigation structures in any way is prohibited under the Drainage and Irrigation Act. So too are practices that result in damage to access dams, such as using an inadequate length of tube to irrigate farmlands, resulting in erosion of the earthen dams. Also contrary to the Drainage and Irrigation Act is the practice of erecting structures or planting on government reserves. This will not be condoned. These reserves are to be clear at all times to provide access for the excavation of the channels. Livestock farmers should also be aware that they are liable for any damages caused by their cattle or swine to dams or reserves alongside D&I channels, as is the case when the animals cross these channels. Individuals wishing to erect bridges across D&I structures should first contact the NDIA before doing so. Those found guilty under the Act are liable to fines and imprisonment for up to 3 months. A message from the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, Ministry of Agriculture.
Well, that's all the time we have on this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Ministry of Agriculture's Communication Unit, and of course produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising based in East Berbice. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. Until next time then, be good to yourselves and to each other.